someone
3
get, is it
minutes
cool if
ago.
I just like pump some iron while we?
If you want,
Is this gonna
yeah.
make you feel weird or what, bro?
Oh, you brought out the big weights for us.
Dude, they are the
What
big
are
ones.
those?
They're the
Eight
tens.
8 pounders, Johnson?
They're tens.
I think it's the five. Five.
Yo, 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 welcome to the show. Welcome to the Social Sunshine Podcast. I am your hostess, Brittany Crossan, and I am here with two gentlemen that together I added up and did the math kind of roughly. I think y'all have like almost 900,000 social media followers together. I am here with two dancing teachers. I don't know how I got so lucky to get double the trouble, but I am here with my friends, Dr. Trevor Boffone and Josh Johnson. Hi.
Well, Brittany, thank you for having us. But first off, we're not math teachers, but let's call that an even million.
Let's just go ahead and round her up. You're right. Like, I really fucked that up. I could have, it would have been more catchy had I just said a million. Damn
Like
it.
by the end of this show, like
It'll
at
be a
least
million. Yeah. Right, for sure.
At the very least.
Well, thanks for being here, y'all. So, everybody listening doesn't know the fun story that y'all have and that we all end up having together. So that's what we're here for, is to share a story. Just like we were talking about earlier, the Brady Bunch. Isn't that how the song goes?
there's
Here's
a story.
Okay.
of a guy
Will
that
I
needs
get
a
fined for
haircut.
that? We better zip it. I don't know.
You
Um,
know.
But in all seriousness, I'm really happy that you guys are here. I adore both of you, and I think that we are a fun trio on social media. And I just enjoy, I just enjoyed knowing both of you and being friends with both of you. Actually, get to work with Trevor. Trevor is a Fun Love Media team member, social media manager here in Houston. Josh, I always say like hashtag we love Josh Johnson because we always wish you were here with us. Josh, you're here in spirit.
I know, and I'm always like so jealous of it. Every time you guys do anything together, I'm like, I hate you.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's so good that they get to be together.
Well, we will be together one day. But I do want to dive into y'all's story. I mean, obviously we all love social media. We're on social media. We're creators. We're having fun. We're dancing and all the things. But you guys actually ended up in each other's lives. Well, yes, because of social media, but in this really cool, crazy way. So we don't really have a plan for this episode. I just want to talk about the story. So who wants to go first? On how y'all met, where you met, and get going?
Trevor,
Well,
sir.
well, I'm in Houston, Texas, and Josh is in Saratoga Springs, New York. But we met in Conyers, Georgia last year.
Everybody knows Conyers.
The booming metropolis of Conyers, Georgia. We actually were both cast in different ways, and I'll let Josh talk about that, but on a show on NBC called Dancing with Myself, which was billed as filming in Atlanta with Shakira, but we did not film in Atlanta. We ended up in Conyers, which was like what, 45 minutes
Yeah,
southeast? I don't know. Of
yeah.
Wait,
Atlanta.
but they got a
You called it
sound stage
Atlanta.
in Conyers, Georgia? Like,
There was this, I mean, it looked like something out of like a dystopian film, this massive soundstage or series of sound stages, a film studio in Conyers, Georgia, where we descended on with all of these influencers and content creators. And so Josh and I met each other in the lobby of a really shitty hotel, like
Yes.
really shitty, gross hotel in Conyers, Georgia.
It was not a spare no expense type of trip. It was like, oh, like the day of our shooting, the hotel had run out of hot water. Like their hot water wasn't, or maybe something got busted. And so, do you remember that? Well, the day that was supposed to be the first day of shooting. And so we're
So
driving
needless to
from the
say,
Atlanta airport out there, and I believe it's Trevor that's saying, I think they're going to kill us and bury us somewhere out here. Like, this is where we're headed.
yeah, it felt like that. And needless to say, Shakira was not at this hotel.
Yeah, she did not stay with us.
Yeah, Shakira was not at the Roach Motel in Conyers, Georgia. But Josh was actually on the show. I was an alternate, but we ended up spending a few days. I ended up leaving early for there was a lot of drama behind the scenes with the filming of this show. And after a while, I was like, I gotta go back home. I gotta go home. I gotta go home. And so I left a bit early. But Josh was on national TV dancing up a storm.
It was your spring break, right?
It was right. It was my spring break, and I was exhausted, and I wanted to actually have a break before school
Yeah.
started, but I had no guarantee of being on the show. And so after a few days, I was just like, this sucks. I was tired. It was not a good place to stay. Yeah, there was some drama, but it was all worth it because I got to meet Josh and some other great people.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, at the point that you left, we were like, we don't know if they're actually going to film this. They had already sent like one crew, one like whole episode's worth, all those people, they had sent them all home. And we were like, are they actually going to do this? And we had, and there's just like little rumor mill. I bet they're going to, and so everybody would do that. And we were like, Trevor's like, I can't like waste my whole break on the hopes that one of you die and I get to be on the show.
Yeah, it also felt like bad karma because in my mind, I try to be a good person, but I was also like, if Josh gets COVID, I'll be on the show. Or if Josh breaks his ankle, and then I'm like, wait, I don't want Josh to get hurt. And I remember there was one part where when they told us that it was getting pushed back, and everyone like had to call their like work and like spouses and stuff, and I was like, I hope Josh's wife demands that he comes home.
And I was like I had never been apart from my kids that long before, and I was like I kind of want to just come home. And my wife's like, no, just stay there. You're fine. But like you've done all this, like we're fine here. Like staying one more day, which was what they said. It ended up being like 2 more days that we stayed. And she's like, you've already done all of this stuff. You've already sent in like 600 hours of footage of like behind the scenes stuff that they want you to film and choreographed all these dances and recorded them and then got permission to do all this stuff, got a health check, it's quite extensive. And then she's like, just stay one more day and then come back. I was like,
Right.
okay. And
Right.
then
You went through all of that.
yeah,
So I was going to ask y'all about the process before getting there. So, because I mean, I got rejected, everyone. Just a reminder in case y'all forgot. I was not asked to be on the show. It's I need more Instagram followers, but
you got pushed
You
to
need it.
or I need better
canceled
footwork. Like
here
my
too.
feet
That's
don't move as fast as Johnson's do. I don't know what it is. But I did have to do a few things, but I know you guys obviously had to do a lot more. So you were saying, Josh, like y'all had to do like some lifestyle stuff, like behind the scenes of like what your life is like. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. There was like so even before so after it was kind of like in stages, and we did like the interview and like there's I don't know PR people that are obviously television PR people, by the way, and we could talk about that more. But so they virtually call you and they have me set up with my phone recording and like on the computer video chatting, and I'm recording myself pretending like I'm in person interviewing with them. So I'm like in my classroom, they have the background, and they're getting like calls from their higher ups. And so I'm all set. I'm like, this is good. Can we start? And they'll be like, just one sec. Can we do it with you in the seat? Like after I've like changed my whole bookshelf, I did all this stuff. We don't want those titles there, so I move all this stuff around. They're like, can we have you in one of the desks? And I'm like, okay. And so we redo that and get that all set up. And then they ask questions for an hour and doing these like, can we try that again? But remember, you're incorporating the question into it. And so we do this whole like setup. And then so after I'm like, and then they're like, okay, and then send us that footage from your camera, that high definition like footage that you did from your camera, and then so that we can possibly theoretically use 3 seconds of that in like promos, which they never did any of. So that was interesting. So that was like a first step. Got through all of that stuff. Record dances, what else do we do? And then they would have like random things. Oh, can we have you? What? I don't remember. What else, Trevor?
Can we see you twerk, Josh? No,
Yes.
but basically, what you see is at the end of the day, you see a 42-minute episode of television, but it is hours of work that goes into it. And for talent, I mean, I use the word talent loosely for Josh and I, not because we don't have it, but we are not treated the same way as the host of these shows are treated, right? So you're very much always left in the dark in terms of call times or what is expected of you. And also in all the lead up when you have these interviews and um, just like Josh was saying, the behind the scenes footage, it sort of feels last minute. I know they're on a timeline, but it's very much like, hey, we need you available for tomorrow for 2 hours. And it's like, oh, I have to shuffle around my life, right? And
That's
so,
tough.
but it's also fun because you're gonna get to be on TV, right? But it's a lot of work, and there were like multiple rounds of the auditioning before you even got cast, and then of course all of the filming of content before you had to learn all the dances before, and then we showed up and we had how long was that dance call? Like 3 4 hours, where we danced straight through. We could barely walk
Yeah, they
after.
like ran through like all of them, and the 12-year-olds are like, and plus they changed the whole first dance on us, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah, they did.
wait, wait, what? I mean, this is because I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to learn. I don't do choreography. Well, put on some music. I can dance to music anytime. That's what makes it so easy. I'm like, sweet, I can record something. You want me to learn to dance? Like this is gonna take a long time. So they're like, oh, we have some changes to the first dance, and so by changes they mean they were gonna completely, yeah, changes
Change
in
the
the
whole
entire
damn
dance.
thing.
I was
The
like,
whole thing.
and some of the Trevor learns them fast. He's like, oh yeah, that was hard. Like he learned them like just fast. But some of the older folks, we were like, we don't old dogs. Those are new tricks. I don't know. Like this is gonna take a while. And so it was. Yeah, it was. That was a little stressful, and like really like what you said. Like it seems like it was just like thrown together. I think it has to do with like there were so many people calling different shots, right? And they're like, oh, you need to do this, and like, oh, we're kind of waiting on makeup to do this thing, or we're waiting on to be available for this, and there's like one person that's in charge of like getting us to the rehearsal space or something, and so that just made it seem like a little disjointed. But the whole like overarching thing is like you're gonna get to be on TV though, and it's like okay,
Oh, right.
that's
And
pretty
they
cool.
would yeah, and they would say things like, "You're gonna get to hang out with Shakira." Well, I don't know about Josh, but I did not meet Shakira.
No,
um,
And Shakira is not prepared to hang out with all of us.
but,
FYI, she's
but
not
what they
waiting for that.
do, no, but what they do when you're on these shows, whether it's the Today Show, Good Morning America, because I've done other stuff as well, is the way that they bill it is you're gonna hang out with Drew Barrymore, you're gonna hang out with Kelly Clarkson, but in reality, like you're lucky if you get a picture with them, you know. And of course, Josh like was on the show, and Josh interacted with the judges. I don't,
well
so
that's the
there was
only
interaction
time.
there,
Yeah, that's the
right?
only time that we saw them got
But
to interact while we were on the stage.
right, but you're not like
Yeah,
hanging out in the green room with Shakira.
Yeah,
no
don't.
selfie.
It's not hanging out. This is the
No.
wrong way to describe it.
But they try to spin it in a way that makes it seem better than it is. Now, I will say that I think Josh, I speak for both of us, we both had a great time.
Yeah.
Like looking back, and I think what brings us to this episode of the Social Sunshine podcast is, we went to do this TV show, but we actually met a really cool group of people because there were 16 of us for our episode, including the people that went on and the alternates. Plus other episodes, we were kind of intermingling with the cast of other episodes. But basically, it was all a group of people. I called it TikTok Summer Camp because it was all people that understood social media, that were content creators, some of them full-time influencers, and it was just a lot of fun to be around that sort of creative energy with people that just get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And consequently, none of those people who get it actually worked for NBC or anybody working there. So that was like this huge gap of like, they're still pushing this TV model at us, right? And they have these people who, like, the Bentis, you got 12 million followers. Like having the little carrot, like, ooh, possibly 1.4 million people might watch this episode for you. He's like, millions of people watch me every single day. And you're like, oh, I guess maybe they should be talking to you about, and really they should have.
Right.
So that said, like Trevor said, like every single person that we worked with there was amazing to us. right? Like I loved everybody that worked with us. They were all awesome. So it was not like, oh, you just show up and like they're just dicks to you and treating you like that. They were like, they treated us great, but we were still the cattle that they were pushing through this process, right? We were not the talent. We were okay, and then we're gonna move you here, and then but they were very nice about it.
Right. And I think, we've talked about this, all three of us, on the podcast, off the podcast, but the the needle is shifting, right? Social media has such viral potential and potential for eyeballs, right? That it's shifting what actually is a meaningful media appearance. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's cool being on. I always talk about I was on Good Morning America a few times, and it's awesome, it's fun. But I didn't gain any followers from Good Morning America, and that's not where you're getting the most views as a social media, like a content creator. Josh has a now this is we're nerds, everyone. And during the airing of the show, Josh kept a little document. Do you want to tell them about that? The
A
data.
spreadsheet. So I was very curious about this. So I'm looking at like the followers on TikTok and Instagram of everybody on our show, and then I started doing people who were the winners of other shows who I knew. And so I'm like tracking like pre-show beforehand, and then like as it's like 3 or 4 different intervals, like during the show, right after it does, and then like months later, like the people's growth in followers, and it the show had absolutely no effect on even the winners. Like there are winners who only had like 6,000 followers on one of them. Sometimes it would be very skewed. Mostly are very skewed towards way more followers on TikTok, and then they had and also I'm on Instagram with a couple thousand followers. But even ones who had a presence on both, the needle did not move at all. At all, I'm talking about. I mean, people who were putting out content consistent, like I grew hugely in then, but I was putting out content every single day. I was I was growing because I was just
Right.
new to social media and still doing that. And people who weren't doing that didn't grow at all. Nothing from the show. I was like, oh. Well, I mean, they never mentioned super awesome dadding. They don't say the words Instagram or TikTok on air. They say that from Oceanside, which is where I was born. I technically am from Oceanside and grew up in California. But it's like teacher from California because they're just trying to hit these different demographics, and I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I never on my interviews I didn't say that at all. People at my school are like, why didn't you say you were from Saratoga? I was like, I didn't do it.
Like,
It's very,
teacher,
very
you're supposed to represent.
Yeah, I know. They're like, thanks for representing.
That's crazy. Well,
Yeah,
that's cool.
right.
That's cool to hear that because I've heard you talk about that before, Trevor, and you're right. I mean, I agree. It makes total sense. And that you actually kept track of it, Josh, because I'm sure tons of people listening probably think that if you get on television in any capacity, that surely your following is going to grow substantially. And it's just not the case.
No.
I feel like you would have to, I feel like you would have to be on, I don't know, some sort of hugely popular show that has like multiple seasons or, it would have to have longevity or something.
I think also, because I've kind of thought about this a lot, I think you have to do something that has the right, like longevity, like a recurring thing. But also, I think the show needs to actually promote the person, right? So, for instance, NBC was sharing content on, and we're not meant to be dragging NBC today, but
Yeah.
NBC would share on social media, they'd show Josh, for instance, and they would never tag Josh, they would never do anything with Josh's actual handle, and so people are not pushed to Josh, even though NBC has millions of followers on every platform. And so it's certain things like that, but also the way that it was talked about with us was very much like this amazing opportunity. You're going to be on national television, primetime NBC, which was not a lie. But at this point, going viral on any social media platform is going to get you more views and more traction than a media appearance for one night.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
That's
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
I noticed that actually because I was paying attention to the show closely, of course, and I was like, why are they not? I literally noticed the tagging thing. It's like, Do they need a social media manager? Like, I guess I can volunteer. This is
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, no offense, NBC,
So
but come
desperately
on,
do.
people, get it together.
They really do. I mean, I know we
Yeah, I mean,
we talked about this a lot, you know. Yeah, I mean, so they
yeah,
have.
because at the end of the day, you had,
Go ahead. No, you go.
yeah, no,
Whoever's
but
written the
at the
book
end of the
about
day,
this.
you had,
Okay, go ahead.
at the end of the day, I'm gonna cut Josh off. At the end of the day, you had what, like 8 episodes with 12 people plus alternates. So you had like over 100 content creators who literally, um, I mean, even people that were very few follow. I mean, like the low end of followers were people that took it seriously, right? And like got it. And there's no even remote, you know, attempt to work with people, right? To actually cross share, right? And so I don't know, but I mean, we got some great friendships out of it, and we have our fun group chat with our cast, and that's always
Right.
interesting.
Right. Well,
I,
it's like you said to me recently, Trevor, about this kind of thing. You said you had an opportunity to go on Drew Barrymore, and you chose not to. Now this is coming out late. This happened. So anyway, when this episode comes out, the Drew Barrymore drama will have been a little while back, but with the strike and everything, and you explained it to me in the sense of like, you know, it would be a fun experience, but it's this whole idea of like you wouldn't be trying to go beyond her show or any other show to gain followers. You're going, you know, it's a cool experience. And like, would it be cool to like have some of that footage and stuff? Yeah, but it's not going to be life changing. But I think it's so crazy that you literally watch the numbers and nothing happened.
yeah.
For
Oh
the
yeah. Well, Brittany, something you have said on a previous podcast, or one of your guests said, I think it was Lisa something Richardson. She's the podcast. You had her a long time ago. I can't think of her full name. I get her emails though. I read them. But something she talks about is credibility, right? So all of these media appearances, they add to your credibility. So like for me, going on Drew Barrymore, should the Drew Barrymore show in a perfect world, like a non-strike world, it adds to the list of things like Dr. Boffone, he was featured on Good Morning America, the Drew Barrymore show, yada, yada, yada. Or Josh Johnson from Dancing with Myself on NBC, yada, yada, yada. It's all credibility that then we can hopefully leverage into opportunities later on, or even financial opportunities.
right, right, yeah. No, it definitely counts for something really cool. Um, okay, so tell me. Okay, I want to fast forward, but before I fast forward in the story, what was there anything like wild or weird as far as interactions whenever you actually did get to be on the show, Josh? Or because you've explained this, I know the answer to this, but explain to everybody listening how much you actually did interact with Shakira,
Oh,
whose
yeah. And so, well,
hips don't lie, as we all know.
like, so the only time is when it's actually on the television. That's like the whole time that I got to interact. When we're running through the scene, like, and there's not like, oh, here we're gonna do this. It's like the first time we're on the set, they're like filming. So we're in these boxes that they have just figured out how to open and close successfully. So that put our tech back. They're like, we think we're gonna like cut somebody off. We're like, doop. But so we're in there. There's like we can't hear all of the sound. There's somebody like talking on the sound, announcing things, giving cues. Camille Kostic is doing like the host is the hostess of the show, and she is like crushing it. So I've gained this new respect for her. She was so good. She would, the audience would be too loud or do something, and they'd have to do right over, and she would like pause and then start back over right into it because they're filming this whole time and they're like, gotta get this filming done. So they're filming, they're going through round 1, round 2, and we're kind of like, they're like telling us as we go, here's how it's gonna work. Round 1, and then the judges come and they comment on all the stuff, and like whatever is on TV, like that is the only time we ever talked. Like besides that, they take us back away from the scene, and the judges are out like in the crowd. I mean, I think that people who were in the audience probably got to interact with them more than we did. I'm sure.
So you didn't get to go to dinner with Shakira?
No. Like no selfies. Like we couldn't even have our phones there. Didn't get to go to dinner. No extended vacations. No.
So you didn't go to the Cracker Barrel?
Yeah. She didn't even go to Cracker Barrel with us.
Bummer.
Oh,
Well, it's cool though. Thanks for sharing that. To give people, I mean, that's fun to know a little behind the scenes of something like that, because
Yeah.
most people have not been on a show on NBC. Okay, so then the timeline goes on. So okay, so by this point, Trevor's gone home because he's like, oh my gosh, I'm sick of waiting and I want to go have my spring break before I go back to these high school kids that I teach. And then you stayed. So how many days total were you there, Josh?
So we got in on Monday, right? I think we flew in. Yeah, we flew in Monday. So we're there through Thursday. You took off Thursday, yeah?
I think you were there till Sunday,
Friday.
weren't you?
Yeah. And
Well,
then
filmed on Saturday.
yeah,
You
filmed
ended up filming on
Saturday.
Saturday and you left Sunday morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because they had Friday was a dead day where they didn't do any filming. So we're just sitting there all day. We're like, oh, good. So there's nothing going on today? Okay. Like contract. It makes sense where we're like, great.
You were there for a week and you were in one episode.
Yeah.
Got it.
42 minutes.
Got it. That's hilarious. Okay, so then
I was
okay.
not on all 42 minutes.
You did really well though. I mean, you
I got to
Yeah.
exact, like, if I could have picked, like, I knew I wasn't going to win. Like, this is like a dance competition. Like, I am a great dancer for a 47-year-old guy. I am not, like, against other people who dance and want to be dancers. I am not so you think you can dance, competition material. So I knew I wasn't going to win, right? And the main thing, I'm like, okay, if I'm not going to win, I just want to get out before I have to do the Shakira dance in front of Shakira. And so it was like perfect. I got out. That was round 5. I got out in round 4, and I was like, yay, thank you, everyone. I have had my time. Bye-bye.
I don't know about you, Josh, but I remember being terrified that I would, if I were to make the finals, have to do the like minute-long choreographed dance I like didn't want to do it. I'm like, I would love to be on the show. I'd love to jump in as an alternate, but I do not want to make it to the finals because I cannot do this.
Choreograph a dance for it. Like every time, like, so we had to like send in something and I like pressed play and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dance to this. And I'm like, it was not a good song to dance to. And not in my really wheelhouse to dance whatever style it was. It was one of the worst songs out of all of the episodes to have a dance to, right? And they were like, let's see what you're gonna do. And this is also, spoiler alert, it's not just by what the audience votes on. So they're like, this guy is gonna drown us with his stupid dance for a minute. We're like, we can't have this guy in the end. So they're looking like, who has this like put together? Because we cannot have this guy go on. So I don't care what the audience votes, you're out. So I was definitely in that category. Yeah.
That's funny. NBC, if you ever want to try this show again, just give us a call. It has to be different. You can't if you want to pluck social media dancing people from the internet, don't teach them that kind of choreography. Like, no, like just do a TikTok dance to keep it simple,
I was
yeah,
really
I would be the
thinking
same
about
way. I
that.
would be so nervous.
Well,
I wanted to be like,
something else, I mean, what you said,
go ahead.
I was going to say is so some of the people were like Josh and I, right? We're just regular people with regular jobs who love to dance, right? And there were other people, I would say like a third, a fourth, maybe more of each episode where they were like, maybe not professional dancers, but people with dance training their whole lives. They might teach dancers, like NFL cheerleaders, like people that dance as part of their like livelihood, I suppose, or their job. And the show very much spun it like, oh, this is a lab technician who likes to dance. And it was like, wait, the lab technician also is a dance teacher at this dance school down the street from the lab, right? Or an NFL cheerleader. And But they sort of manipulated the like details about people to make it look like these average Americans are dancing.
She does media marketing. You're like, she's a dancer that has to have a job too, but she's a dancer. Just
Right, right. That was part of the thing I was actually saying to Ryan when we were watching the show when it was on TV. I was like, how could you even place? I understand, like they needed to fill like roles. Like, how do you even place somebody like me? That's not even fair. Like, it sounds stupid. Like, who's a social media person? Like, it's not even. It's cooler if it's like it's a dancing teacher or a dancing dentist. You know, that sounds more fun. But so spoiler alert: Josh didn't win.
Ugh.
what?
But you're a winner to us, honey. And then so funny thing about this whole thing is that I had asked Josh to be on my podcast before I knew he was going to be on the show, and he was at a point where he wasn't able to say he was going to be on the show yet. And I had auditioned for the show, and I had sickness. I don't even want to say the word. I don't know. Do things get flagged for that still? Anyway, and I had
Really
to.
bad diarrhea? You can say that.
Yeah, it's horrible diarrhea.
Oh,
No. and it was a disaster. But I still was like, okay, this dude's funny. He's cool. Like, let's get him on the show. I was trying to get more social media creators on this show instead of mostly just like experts trying to teach things. And not that you're not an expert, Josh. I feel like you're an expert in your own right. And so I'd asked you, and you were like, cool. Well, and I had auditioned and then not heard back, right? And then at some point you emailed us, me and Megan, who works for me, and you were like, by the way, I was on this show and now I'm going to be able to talk about it. And I was like, what? You were on the show? I mean, because that's not even why I asked you to be on my show.
Well, because it was like a week. It was like a week or two after they finally like let us start to promote it, and I was like, by the way, I've been holding this in for months. I'm gonna be on the show, and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah,
it was fantastic.
It was like great timing.
I mean, because that's not why I asked you to be on Social Sunshine. It's not, I just wanted you to be on, and then
you liked me for me.
I loved you for you. And so it was just cool. Like, then we got to talk about it, and then we got to talk about my rejection and and all that stuff. And then then we hear from this dude named Trevor, who's like, I think the first photo I saw of you, Trevor, are you like, is there a peace sign?
Oh, the peace sign picture?
Yeah.
The pouty lip peace sign?
It was, yeah. It was a, if you're watching this on YouTube. And Megan's like, okay, we got this guest thing from this dude to be on the show. And I'm like, what? Another dancing teacher? What? He's in Houston? My mind was about to explode. And then it's like, yeah, I know Josh, and I was an alternate. And anyway, it was just all meant to be, because it was crazy how it all played out. And then we end up fast forward even further, and the three of us all stay in touch. We do some content together, which was super fun, by the way. We need to do that again. And then now here we are with Trevor actually working for Fun Love Media. And, it's crazy. I feel like the whole thing was obviously meant to be. And it's fun.
No response, just laughter.
Like, it's fun.
Yes,
I like that.
It's fun. Well, it is. It proves something that I preach all the time about social media. Is just the opportunity of, like, you literally never know. I mean, really. So if you're somebody that enjoys it and wants to make content, like, freaking do it, right? Because you could end up, hanging out with Shakira. You could end up on Good Morning America. You could end up turning down Drew Barrymore. You could end up, with great friends. I mean, I don't know. That's the way I look at it. Do y'all have y'all had generally like good perspective and experiences like that with social media?
Oh, absolutely. Trevor, you go first. I keep cutting you off. Stop. Go.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I feel like that's what I preach, right? Social media can be a place where you build community. And I think so many people are dismissive of social media as a meaningful place, right? To build your, craft your identity, to meet other people, to form like a digital kinship. And in my experience, it's a quite robust place to do that. It doesn't have to be less than. And I mean, in the case of Josh and I, we met in person, but I've not seen him since March 2022, right? And then Brittany, like you, like I feel like we, for about I don't know, it feels like a year or so, or almost a year, we were just basically digital buddies, right?
Right.
I was on the podcast, we interacted on social media before we finally started hanging out in Houston. But I mean, I don't know that social media um, is less than, right? Because to me, it is a powerful place to do all of these things and really create meaningful relationships.
Yeah, and I just think, I mean, for me, it's just like it's one of those like trite, like cheesy sayings, but it's like it really is what you make of it, which it absolutely is. Like, there's no other way to say that. Like, if you use it as something like useful and social for you, then that's what it is. If you use it as a creative outlet and you want to put stuff out into the world, then that's what you get to do. You get to choose your adventure here. And so it's like choose wisely.
Right, and
Right?
algorithms.
That's a good end of the episode right there. Like right when you like if I
We
go
should have
like
just stopped
choose
it.
wisely.
Choose boom.
Wild. But
Next.
also think about algorithms. Any social media platform, the algorithm is meant to bring people together who have something in common. And so it's no surprise that we're able to meet people that are into our weird niches, who live in a certain area that we live. That's what the algorithms are designed to do. So it can be a really cool place to do all these different things. And also, like Josh, I feel like Josh and I are very close to seeing each other in person again because we both have family in San Diego, Orange County, and so we keep getting very close to being in the same area at the same time.
I know, but it makes it
Putting that
even
out there.
worse when I hear like you're in an area that like I was in or like could be in soon, and I'm like, great. And then I see you guys like, hey, here, we're just on this shoot together, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
It's so funny because Josh, you're the reason why Trevor and I know each other. And here we are seeing each other all the time. You're like, hey,
Yeah,
hello.
all the time. Shut up. No,
But
I'm really happy for
so
you
Brittany,
guys. Really happy.
we're happy too. What I was gonna say was Brittany always says, "Post the fucking video," and honestly, like we should live our life with that mantra in every capacity. And I mean, the reason I know Brittany is because I listened to the podcast when Josh was on it, and I was like, "She's cool. That's a cool topic. I have a book about
Yeah,
this.
she
I'm
is.
gonna email." It's like send the fucking email, send the fucking DM, post the fucking video. Like, don't be afraid to put yourself out there because the worst that can happen is rejection or you get either ghosted or no response. But at the end of the day, it doesn't cost you anything to get ghosted, right? And now because I sent the fucking email, I have a new friend and we're like doing all sorts of cool stuff.
Right. I agree
And
100%.
you get to be the guy
Choose
that
your
like
adventure, as Josh says.
choose
The
wisely.
what guy?
Oh, I was gonna say like you're the guy that got Drew Barrymore to change her mind by being like, I don't think I should be on the show. And she's like, wait a minute, I should reconsider. Trevor,
Not to toot my own horn, but I single-handedly shut down the Drew Barrymore show. No.
you're like, I
That's
don't
going to
want
be
to
our
make something
promo
out
for
of it
this
that isn't,
episode.
but no big deal.
Well, anyway, I just think all of it's really cool, and I really appreciate you guys doing this and being here with me and hanging out. And we need to coordinate another video soon because that's the cool thing, Josh Johnson, is that you don't have to be here in Houston. We can still like go dance up at Target or something if y'all want to. I'm down.
That's true. That is true. It's the magic of the digital universe. I love that.
It is. All right, before we go, we'll have it in the show notes, of course, but please tell everybody how they can find you and follow you on social medias. Josh.
My name is Josh Johnson. You can find me and follow me at Super Awesome Dadding on both Instagram and TikTok. Super awesome dadding. As in like a verb for doing a dad job. Dadding. Super awesome style.
Well, mine is a little less exciting, but I'm on every platform. If you just search my last name, Boffone, Boffone, I'm the only one. So,
All
You're
right.
the only one!
and I'm the only one who walk across the fire. You have to
Are
finish it.
you?
Thank you, Brittany.
All right, guys. Thank you.